Some companions are remembered for leading armies. Some are remembered for speeches. Some are remembered for knowledge. But Muhammad ibn Maslama was different. He was remembered for missions, quiet missions, dangerous missions. The kind of missions that happen before the battle starts, or after the city has already gone silent. He guarded, he scouted, he investigated. He entered places where one warm word could get him killed.
You know why I am here. This cannot continue. You must choose your allegiance before the sun rises.
And near the end of his life, when Muslims began fighting Muslims, this same man did something people never forgot. He took his sword, went to Mount Uhud, and broke it against the rocks. Not because he was afraid to fight. He had spent his life proving the opposite. He broke it because that sword had defended Islam, and he refused to use it in a war between Muslims. But to understand why that moment mattered, you have to know who Muhammad ibn Maslama was.
Secure the door! Quickly, inside!
In the early days of Medina, the Muslim community did not live in safety. Mecca was still hostile. Tribes were watching. Enemies were gathering information. And the city itself was still learning how to survive as a new Muslim society. In that world, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, needed more than warriors. He needed men who could guard at night, men who could scout a road before an army moved, men who could carry out a mission without panic, men who could enter danger quietly and come back with results. Muhammad ibn Maslama was one of those men. He was from the Ansar, tall, strong, dark-skinned, serious, and known for action more than words. He was not the companion remembered for long speeches. He was not the man who needed attention. He was the man people looked for when something had to be done. When the Prophet traveled, Muhammad ibn Maslama could be found close. When the army moved, he could be sent ahead. When the camp needed protection, he could stay awake while others slept. When a mission was too sensitive for ordinary men, his name appeared. In modern terms, you could compare parts of his role to a field scout, a security officer, a military police commander, and a special operations leader. But in his own time, the title was simpler. He was trusted. And the first story that shows why begins not with a battlefield, but with words. In Medina at that time, words were not harmless. A poem could shame a tribe. A public insult could demand revenge. A powerful voice could push men toward war. This was Arabia. Reputation mattered. Honor mattered. Poetry traveled fast. And when words were used in a time of conflict, they could become weapons. Then came Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf.
We must stand united against the darkness. Together, our strength will be unmatched.
He was not just a man writing poetry from a distance. He was an influential figure, and his words had crossed into danger. He insulted the Muslims. He attacked their honor, and he became a voice pushing enemies against the Prophet Muhammad. This was not seen as simple criticism. This was wartime incitement. So one day, the Prophet asked a question. Who will deal with Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf? The men around him understood what that meant. This would not be an open battle. No armies, no banners, no battlefield. Ka'b was not standing in front of them with a sword. He was inside his own world, behind his own doors, surrounded by people who trusted him. To reach him, a man would need more than courage. He would need access. He would need timing. He would need to walk in calmly, speak normally, and hide danger behind ordinary words. Muhammad ibn Maslama stood up. I will, O Messenger of Allah. But before he left, he asked for permission to use deception. Because Ka'b would never open his door to a man who sounded like an enemy. He would never step into the night if he felt danger waiting. So the mission began before any weapon was raised. It began with trust. Muhammad ibn Maslama gathered a small group. Among them was Abu Naila, a man who had a connection to Ka'b. That connection was important. A stranger calling in the dark might make Ka'b suspicious, but a familiar voice could bring him out. The men approached carefully. They did not come like attackers. They came like men with a problem. Muhammad ibn Maslama spoke to Ka'b in a way that made the conversation feel normal. He complained about hardship. He spoke of need. He made it sound like they had come for food, for a loan of grain, for help. Ka'b listened. Then he asked for collateral, something to hold until the debt was paid. At first, he asked for their women. Muhammad refused. Then he asked for their sons. Muhammad refused again. That would bring shame on them, he said. Then they offered something else, their weapons. And that was the door. Because now, if they returned carrying weapons, it would not look suspicious. It would look like they were bringing the collateral Ka'b himself had requested. The weapons would be visible, but they would not look like a threat. Later, they came back at night. Ka'b was inside his home. His wife heard the voices and felt uneasy. She warned him. She said the voice outside sounded like blood. But Ka'b trusted the men who had come, especially Abu Naila. So he came down. He stepped out into the night. He was dressed well, perfume surrounding him, relaxed, confident, not realizing that the safety he felt was part of the trap. The men walked with him. They kept the conversation alive. No sudden rush, no shouting, no movement that would make him run. Then Muhammad ibn Maslama noticed the perfume. He praised it. Ka'b accepted the praise. Muhammad asked if he could smell his head. Ka'b allowed him. Muhammad asked again. Ka'b allowed him again. And now Muhammad ibn Maslama was close enough. Close enough that the mission could no longer be left to chance. He took hold of him. The others moved. And in the darkness outside Medina, the mission was completed. No army had marched. No public battle had been announced. But one of the most dangerous voices against the Muslims had been silenced. That night showed why Muhammad ibn Maslama was trusted. Not because he was the loudest man in the room, but because he could enter danger without letting danger show on his face. He knew how to speak, how to wait, how to make the other man feel safe, and how to act when the moment finally arrived.
All right, I'll stop here for now. Honestly, there were a lot more stories about Muhammad ibn Maslama that I wanted to tell in this episode, but we'll leave them for another one. So if you want a part 2, tell me in the comments. I'm Idris, and this was my first story. Assalamu alaikum.